Welcome back to the Rest is F1 podcast. Today we are talking about the 2025 Canadian Grand Prix. I'm your host Shaq, and with me, as usual, I've got ABD. How are we, ABD?
Good, great. Can't wait to talk about the Canadian Grand Prix. Some drama in the race, so looking forward to it.
Yep, absolutely. So first of all, let's jump into the what do we think out of 10? What would we rate it?
I have gone for a 7. It wasn't the most exciting race, but there were a few incidents I thought can bring it to 7. We will talk about a few of them in a few minutes, but yeah, I rated 7.
Yep, I've gone for a 6. I think it was a pretty straightforward race for a decent while. So I think that affects sort of how everything was going racing wise. So this race, round 10, can't believe we've already gone through 10 rounds. But George Russell, first win of the season, converted the pole position to a win. That's a frequent thing this year. A pole to win has been pretty common. And it's not only Russell on the podium, Antonelli has also scored his first podium in F1. So it was a Mercedes 1-3, Verstappen in between the two. What do we think of Russell and Antonelli as well, both scoring podium and win?
Yep, starting with Russell, so consistent this year. I think we talked about this few races back, how Piastri, Max, and Russell were the top three, just being consistent when they have the car, they are scoring the points, the maximum points. So yeah, it was just such a good qualifying lap as well. With the medium tires, and Mercedes making the most out of it with Antonelli on P3 as well. So yeah, great weekend for Mercedes. It'll be interesting to see how they perform in the upcoming races. If we see like a closer battle with McLaren Mercedes, that'll be interesting as well. Cars using the same engines. So yeah, really looking forward to the upcoming races and how they perform.
Yep. Of course, Antonelli, 18 years old. He's the third teenager to get a podium in F1. So that's really, really cool to see. And I thought, I feel like most of us, we had the feeling that he was going to get a podium and even potentially, with 14 races to go, I think even potentially a race win. So, we have a lot of high hopes, and it's great to see him back in, score a good result because he has had a few bad races now. So I think, yeah, it's really good to see him up there, and he's got huge potential, I think, for sure.
Yeah, and I thought the way he positioned the car in on the first lap, like really helped him get to overtake Piastri. He had a lot of space, and he positioned it so well, and he was so close to Max as well in the first lap. So that was good to see from an 18-year-old. Yeah, looking forward to many more races where he can be up there fighting with the table toppers.
Yeah. Speaking of the table toppers, McLaren, the easily the worst race they have had this season so far. Not a single one of them on the podium, and a DNF for one of them. And that person is on my right over here. Lando Norris did not finish this race. And before we get to the incident, I just want to say he did speak about how he did get asked about is Oscar and you going to be potentially colliding with each other? Could that be a problem? He said it's not a matter of when, it's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when.
Mm.
So that's he said that and it's immediately happened. And the thing is, I think it's actually not that controversial, the incident itself. So obviously, I'm sure as most of you have watched this race, you would know Oscar and Lando were pretty close, trying to overtake Antonelli on the last stint of the race. And Lando just tried to go for a move on the straight that wasn't there, uh, destroyed his front wing, hit the wall, and just completely DNF'd in the race. First of all, I want to get your thoughts on that. What do you think?
Yeah, I think Lando used to panic when Max was anywhere around him in 2024. Now Lando is panicking for both Max and Oscar Piastri. um, he was in a better position in that stage of the race. He had like a better tires compared to Oscar. He should have been a bit more patient, and he could have overtaken Oscar in the straight after the first corner, but he wasn't. He misjudged it in the start finish straight and hit Oscar, and also the wall, lost his wing. So yeah, he panics around these top drivers who does not have emotions, who does not, slaughter like he does. So it this is the battle we all expected to see this year, but it only lasted for one lap. So that was a shame, but Landon need to bring back his A game. Otherwise, I think he's like 40 points now behind Oscar, or a little bit more. I don't know. I'll have to check, but yeah, it's not been a great weekend for him. And it all started with a poor qualifying. I think he qualified P7. He misjudged the last corner in the first run in Q3, and went over the curbs. So yeah, a lot of mistakes from him this weekend. I actually put him as pole position for this weekend, given the fact that he won and also got pole position in both the street circuits before this in Australia and Monaco. But it didn't happen. It just went backwards, to be honest. So yeah, really bad weekend for Lando.
Yeah. So I think it was Piastri's now 22 points ahead of Norris,
Okay.
and in front of Max, I think he's about 43 points, Piastri to Verstappen. So I think that gap kind of actually I might have to double check, but I think Verstappen is closer to Norris now than is to Lando.
21 and 22.
Okay, all right. So that's the thing. You get a DNF and it makes a big difference. That's almost a race win between
Yep.
each of them. So I mean, you know, I don't want to keep looking back to Australia, but imagine Piastri had just scored a podium there. Look how many more points that he would have gained. The way he's turned it around, I think even a fourth place for him, it's not bad. I don't think it's a bad result. I think it's good. He's still got good points. He's not lost that much on Max, and it's all right.
Yep.
But Lando, I think the best way to look at it is Lando is driving like he's the one with Oscar's experience, and Oscar is driving like he's the one with Lando's experience. Lando's been in the sport since 2019. Oscar's been here since 2023. That's, 4 or 5 years difference. Extra, he should have that extra, understanding. He knows what it's like to be in a slow car, and now he knows the fast car. So feel like this should be something where he's not. I don't expect such a mistake.
Mhm.
Like, a person who's so experienced, like Lando so far, to be, making such a huge error. That's not an error you can just misjudge, and because it ruined his race, right? End of the day, it ruined his race. He's lost points, and I keep saying it. I don't think I didn't think it at the start of the year, and I don't believe it now. I'm still not convinced he's ready for a world championship. I don't think he's gonna win this year. And I know we're 10 races in, things can change, all that stuff, but he's just not showing anything right now to suggest that he deserves to win the drivers' championship, right? So,
Yeah,
yeah,
100%. Yeah. Yeah, I think he need to pick up his game. Otherwise, there's no fight for like you said, Max could easily overtake him in the championship points as well in the upcoming races if it continues to happen. But yeah, I just want to talk about Oscar Piastri. Oh my God, how he defended Lando in that last corner. He outbraked him and still made the corner, and that was just insane to watch. And there was no way he was going to let Lando without a fight,
yeah,
which is just awesome to see. Um, Yeah, it's. I hope to see more of this in the upcoming races. I know you don't want to because you want Oscar to win the championship.
Yeah.
I also want Oscar to win the championship, but probably with a fight, right? So yeah, we'll see more of this in the upcoming race, and not McLaren just one of the drivers just running away with the championship. So yeah,
Yeah.
looking forward to Austria. I know in Austria Red Bulls have been very good as well, so maybe a three-way fight with Max. So let's see.
Yeah. Uh, Oscar as well, just before, before that, like the last chicane, like you mentioned, he also, Lando went for a dive bomb down the into the hairpin. And it was almost like Oscar anticipated it, kind of just let him go through and then switched him back and then went for the move back again. And, I think it's awesome to see this like calm mind that Oscar has. And it's like, Lando needs to learn from Oscar essentially, really. It's that's the plain and simple way of putting it. He's just lacking in most departments, really. It's a weird thing to say when you look at their previous history in F1. But yeah, obviously, look, I want to see Oscar win, absolutely. Like, and yes, a fight is nice, but yeah, no, it's just how long it's been since we've had an Aussie champion. We haven't. I don't think we were even alive when that happened. So, yeah, that's something. Yeah, that would be really awesome. But obviously, let's leave that for the end of the season. We'll keep enjoying it as we go. Let's look.
100%.
Yeah, yeah. Let's look further down the order. So again, we've had a decent spread of points. Obviously, with Lando's DNF, still four of the lower teams did score points. Alonso for Aston, Hulkenberg for Haas, Ocon for Hulkenberg for Sauber, Ocon for Haas, and Sainz got it for Williams. So it's nice to see the spread of points. I didn't expect Hulkenberg in there again. Ocon even was a bit of a surprise. Sainz, similar to Ocon, they both did the one stop, I believe. I'm not sure if
Yeah.
Hulkenberg did. He might have actually as well. And it worked out. It worked out really well. They did really well to manage those tires. But what do you think about that?
Yeah, I thought Alonso extracted everything out of that car, even in qualifying. The rest of them had to fight through in the race, but Alonso did in qualifying and also in the race. He was just behind Lewis on the grid, but still kept that position throughout the race. I think only Lando overtook him, and obviously Lando crashed out at the end. But yeah, great to see all these teams up there in the points. Like it was a bad weekend for Williams until Sainz got that point. They had like engine cover blowing away, like blowing off from the car, DNF, Albon shouting on the radio about the poor strategy that he got. So there was a lot of bad incidents happening in that race for Williams, but thankfully they ended up with a point for Sainz. So yeah, good to see Williams up there as well. I know. Think it is the Racing Bulls. Oh, actually, it's Williams who got 54 points. Then it's Racing Bulls 28.
Okay.
So that battle also probably could tighten up if Williams continue to get more points or Racing Bulls continue to get more points in the upcoming races.
Yeah.
And one familiar face that we usually see in points didn't end up in points this time was Hajar.
Yep.
Probably worst race for him this season. I'm not counting Australia, what happened in Australia, but yeah, probably the worst race for him even worse race for Racing Bull in general with the DNF from Lawson as well.
Yep. He was actually the last car, apart from Stroll, but Stroll was in his own world, I think. Obviously doing exactly what you expect from him. But let's not go into Stroll. There's not much to talk about there. I wanted to actually bring just a bit of attention back to the tire situation with what Pirelli chose for the weekend. So they chose the C4, C5, and C6 tires for Canada, right? Now, Canada usually is a cold place, right? and obviously last year we had a lot of rain, so that was a big factor. This year it was quite hot. It was pretty hot. Degradation and the tire wear was just really, it was a huge thing. I think that they essentially just eliminated the use of a soft tire with the
Mm.
sticks. It was just too soft because after I think one or two laps, it was pretty much already dead. And so it just didn't suit the conditions this race. I think the Pirelli have misjudged that, but what do you think?
Yeah, I heard a few things around this, but the thing that caught my eye was qualifying. Like how Max and Russell qualified in Q3 with the medium tires when everyone else had a softer tire. So medium tire was faster than the softer tire. Like you said, probably it was degrading so quickly. It couldn't hold on for one single lap. So yeah, that was definitely showing. Hopefully, same thing happened in one of the previous races as well, where there was no degradation at all. So hopefully they make the right choice in the upcoming races.
Yeah, I feel like that's been a bit of a unwanted theme. It's kind of, they've made the wrong choice a couple times. In Japan, there was not enough degradation. Here it was way too much. I think
Yeah.
even I don't know if it was Spain or the couple races before that, we also had something similar. So I think that's something they can fix up. But yeah. Um and just one more thing, I think we should talk about, and this is kind of over him in general. So George Russell before this race, he was absolutely up to some antics or something because he was just having little jabs at Verstappen all weekend long, After qualifying, he was like, I've got more penalty points to play with into turn one and all that stuff. And we saw it at the end of last year in Qatar, especially. He really knows how to get under Max's skin. I think he's the best on the grid at doing that. And I think to be able to do that, it's funny, but also it's a absolute like strategical, I guess, advantage for himself.
Yeah.
Like the mind games and everything he's playing for Max. I think it can work. Imagine if if Russell and Verstappen got into a title fight, let's say next year or the year after. I think this plays a big factor. Russell is very good with, sort of manipulating things a bit. What do you think?
Yeah, that it's so I don't know if funny is the right word, but Max used childish when he was asked about it in the press conference. But yeah, Russell's not leaving him alone. Like Russell's going after Max in the press conference, in the race, behind the safety car. So yeah, and they ended up being in P1 and P2 for after qualifying as well. So I think like the question you asked about a championship fight between them, probably we'll see more crashes than trophies.
Yep. Yeah.
Yeah, they don't go along very well, but I also think media plays a big part in sort of blowing this up and making sure there's a fight on the track and off the track. So it's fun to watch as a spectator. Hopefully, we see more fights between them, but clean on the track as well.
Yeah. The main example this weekend of that, I would say, is the safety car incident. So I have seen the videos of Max's interview, so I can we can clear it up what actually happened. But essentially, Russell braked really sort of brake checked randomly. Max is on the right side, so there was nothing like he was going to hit him or anything. But he just randomly braked and then immediately hopped on the radio, said Max is overtaking me. Um, so that's very cheeky of Russell. But one thing that Verstappen was actually, he did actually say in an interview I saw, he mentioned that him and George were both trying to actually speed the safety car up because
Mm.
they realized they were trying to slow down a bit more so they could get one more racing lap in.
Yep.
I think they were trying to actually get the safety car to move because they didn't want to, obviously they don't like to be going slow. That's not in the nature of the F1 drivers. and in general, they're not gonna wanna like be doing, be going slow and sitting behind a safety car all race. So obviously they want to get a move on with it, right? And so they were trying to do that, and then essentially there was Max just said it was down to a miscommunication. And I saw a lot of the comments were saying, don't defend George after everything he's done with you, Max." So I think that's really funny to say.
Yeah, but I think Max got to be careful. Like 1 point for a race ban, it can happen. Like it can happen, right? So, and we don't want to see where Max isn't there. So, yeah, hopefully he can clear that up. Like, hopefully he can have like a couple of races with no ban, like no penalty points, and then get some more points added to his sort of back pocket so that he can use it later on in the season if needed. So yeah,
Yeah. So I mean, that sums up pretty much everything. Not too much going on racing wise. I think, um, obviously the Norris thing, it was obviously his fault. He admitted that, but it's good to see Mercedes get on to a really strong weekend.
you won't believe we are almost in the end of our podcast and we haven't talked about the Ferraris. It's just insane how bad they are that we don't even have a talking point about them.
But there's nothing to say, really, is there? They've just been so dreadful. Like it, every race we are like, oh, we one of us will put them down as good team. We'll go, you know what, this is going to be the one. Ferrari's going to go and smash it this week. No, never happens. One driver will have a good race, and the other one will have the worst race of their life. And this is the way Ferrari do it, and that is unfortunately the truth, and it sucks. It
It sucks.
sucks because
And Leclerc, I think he could have had a really good race, but he ruined it with a silly crash in a practice session.
yeah,
He Because of the crash in practice one, he couldn't do practice two because they couldn't repair the car in time. So he only got like one practice session and then straight into qualifying. I think that ruined his weekend. Otherwise, I think he would have been in the fight for like P3 or P4.
yeah,
Uh,
I agree.
which yeah.
Well, I think both of them were saying the car was actually not too bad in terms of pace, but I think Hamilton in particular, he kind of got stranded in just sort of no man's land with the way Ferrari did their strategies and everything. He just kind of went on the wrong tire, did the wrong thing, and it was just I don't know what they were doing really. I just don't know what the strategy thing for that, what the strategy team do for them. Like, what do they do? Like, do they just think write one thing up and then sit there for the week and say, okay, here, this is what you got to do, and they get paid and go home happy, or like,
It is a bit like Carlo Ancelotti at Real Madrid. I'm a Real Madrid fan, but Carlo Ancelotti usually play with no tactics.
yeah.
Um, he'll just let his superstar players do their thing. It's something like that. It has worked in football. I'm not too sure about F1 though.
I don't think it's the same for F1. I don't think it's the same. Yeah. So. Yeah, that's Ferrari. I mean, look, there's not much we could say, right? It's just disappointment after disappointment every single week. Does not feel like they are maximizing their chances at whatever they're trying to fight for at the moment. It should be a world championship, should be both world championships, but they've failed to do that. So
Yep.
um, yeah, for me, I just think after last year's, I was really hyped to see them. They got Lewis Hamilton and everything, and then yeah, we're not
Same.
even. The thing is, we're not even Ferrari fans, right? We aren't Ferrari fans, and we are disappointed. I can't imagine how Ferrari fans feel. Like,
Fans feel. Yeah. We
uh,
could rant about this for another hour.
yeah,
Maybe.
easily, but no, yeah, a decent race. It's just another one for the year. It's good to see Mercedes on top, and let's see what happens with the constructors. I think McLaren probably will be back in terms of pace next weekend.
Yep.
But yeah, I think a good race overall. Bit of action with the crash and a couple DNFs and all that stuff. But apart from that, I think that is pretty much everything for the Canadian Grand Prix. So we got the Austrian Grand Prix in
Yep.
2 weeks' time. So we'll be excited and ready for that. But until then, we'll see you guys for our predictions video for that race, and we'll catch you guys in the next one. Bye bye.
Sure. Bye bye.